On 7 News tonight, safe for now, Tony Abbott survives a tense leadership test as he fights to get his government back on track. Shark attack, a surfer killed on the state's far north coast just metres from shore. A breakthrough in the shooting death of a Sydney great-grandmother, a man charged with her murder. More pain for Sydney drivers as petrol prices surge even higher. And some of our biggest music stars make a very big impact at the Grammy Awards. Welcome to 7 News.
This is 7 News at 6 with Mark Ferguson.
Good evening. It was for a Monday morning in Canberra anything but normal. Just 16 months into government, the Prime Minister's job was on the line. Liberal MPs voting behind closed doors not to have a leadership spill. So, confronted by what he calls a chastening experience, the Prime Minister has promised to listen, learn and change to head off another day like this one.
Never before has a Prime Minister walked the corridor of political death so early in his term, surrounded by a posse of supporters determined to look strong. While the man who would be a contender ambled alone. Labor players of spills past strolling by, happy for once it's not them. But it was all over in minutes. The vote for a spill seen off.
Noes 61, yes 39.
The victorious march of the blue ties, followed by a recorded message to the nation.
I love this country and I will do my best to help our country to succeed.
The image of strength momentarily replaced by one of isolation in Parliament, having a quiet word with Malcolm Turnbull as they later left the chamber together. The plotters had fallen 13 votes short.
We have looked over the precipice.
I think that getting 39 votes for the spill motion is a powerful message.
I've listened, I've learned, and I've changed, and the government will change with me.
Worried backbenchers hope the first change will be dumping the Medicare co-payment, and this gave them some hope.
No new proposals come forward without the broad backing of the medical profession.
He twice declined to express faith in Treasurer Joe Hockey at the news conference, but later did.
I stand by my Treasurer. I stand by my team. I stand by my Treasurer.
As Labor reminded him of what he'd said when Julia Gillard saw off the first Rudd challenge, 71-31.
Given that one-third of her parliamentary colleagues...
Given that nearly half of his parliamentary colleagues...
have expressed their lack of confidence in her today...
have today expressed a lack of confidence...
How can she claim to have a mandate to continue as Prime Minister?
How can the Prime Minister claim to have a mandate for this country?
Most Liberal MPs say Tony Abbott's bought himself some time today to prove if he can turn around his disastrous polling, perhaps until the budget or the next big stumble. As Labor began targeting the man who would replace him.
The minister's only being about 39% relevant, and he needs to be 100% relevant here.
He is super glued to that seat, member for Wentworth, and you are going to have to blast him out.
The backbencher who seconded the spill motion sounded an ominous warning.
I suspect that this is just the beginning of a process where we have to sort it out once and for all.
I would rather put cigarettes out on my eyes than go through that again.
Tony Abbott declared it all done and dusted.
Good government starts today.
Acknowledging that much of what's gone before hasn't been good.
And our political editor Mark Riley is with us. Mark, what does Tony Abbott have to do from today, from tonight, to appease those many critics within his own party?
Well, Mark, keeping that promise to consult and listen would be a good start, and there is some evidence that Tony Abbott's going to give that a real try this time around. But his biggest challenge is reversing that dire polling. 14 points behind for a government is as good as clinically dead politically. And he needs to start with the first target being the Liberal base. So getting rid of the Medicare co-payment and those pension changes would be a good start there. And no more captain's calls, Mark.
OK, Mark Riley in Canberra, thank you. Apart from turning around his critics in the party, Tony Abbott also has to turn around those plunging opinion polls. Another out today demonstrates his challenge. Voter dissatisfaction soaring and business not normally critical of